What's going on, guys? Just figured I'd shoot a video out here at the property. It's a nice, beautiful day outside. Got my dog with me. What's going on, everyone? I'm just relaxing out here with my dog. Figured I'd do a quick little live video. I haven't done one of these in a while. What's going on, Dill Pickle? In GoCan Pro life. How's everyone doing today? Hey, everyone. It is an absolutely beautiful day here. What's it like where you guys are at? Can you guys hear me okay? Belgium, wow, you're far away. Welcome to the video. Thanks, Robert, I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of you guys too. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous today. I just figured I'd do a little live video. I was just relaxing out here. Need to give my dog a workout. It's probably sunny and 75. Well, probably 65 here. So about the same temperature, nice and dry. Sorry about that, Eric. Sorry about that, Brandon. Wish you guys had a nice sunny, mild day as well. I'm actually wearing short sleeves today. Hello from the U.S. Thank you for joining, Jen, from England. Yeah, today, actually the last couple of days have been those very strange, absolutely gorgeous days. Great day to get outside and do some projects. I can't pan the camera over that way because I have a project that'll appear in an upcoming video that I completed. All right, I know this was kind of off the cuff, so didn't give many of you a chance to plan ahead for this live video, but figured, hey, what the heck, it's a beautiful day outside, and what better time to talk to my viewers and, you know, have a chat with you all than now. Tyler, Texas. Beautiful area. I actually drive through Tyler more than you might think. Greetings from Minnesota. 50 degrees, wow. Thank you, Buzz. I'll tell you, projects are fun. Videos make them look short and sweet, but oftentimes they take hours, and by the time you're done, you just want to plop down on a couch, relax with a cold adult beverage. Oh, that's cool, Gilbert. Colorado is one of the most beautiful states I think I've ever been to, and I've been there several times. I'm a big fan of Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. Just that whole area is just absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of interesting. You know, you live down here near the coast, and people travel down here because they want to be near the ocean, but everyone that lives down here near the ocean, or the bay at least, the Gulf, wants to be up near mountains and, you know, that area. It's kind of a, you know, everything in life is, you know, a bit of a trade-off. And you get closer to the ocean, you know, the first thing you want to do is get closer to the mountains, and the closer you get to the mountains, the closer you want to get to the ocean. So it's always interesting to me. Every time I watch TV shows where people live on the side of a mountain or near a mountain, and you see the whole range in the background and all the snow, it just makes me super jealous. But then I realize half the time you're fighting to get through your driveway because of the snow. I have not been to Canada ever, actually. So I would love to visit Canada. I hear the people are really nice there, but no, I've never been to Canada. Farthest north I've been is North Dakota and Washington. I've been up to Washington several times, North Dakota, New York, that area, but, you know, as far north as people might assume would be north in the U.S., North Dakota. Afternoon, Timbo. Hey, Timbo, don't think I don't see every time you post on my videos, and I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for joining my live video. Heading to Louisiana. You better have good suspension on your vehicles, because the roads between Texas and Louisiana can get a bit bumpy. Hey, Leslie from Atlanta. Thank you for joining. Oh man, I forgot. I just posted the Wagoneer video just went live, so the live stream's interrupting folks watching my Grand Wagoneer video. If you guys haven't seen that SUV is utterly amazing. It's almost ridiculous what they've done with that SUV from the interior perspective. If you haven't seen my Grand Wagoneer content, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's wow, it blew me away. And you know, that's actually a good topic. You know, I do a lot of vehicle reviews, and I think some folks don't realize that I'm also a journalist, an automotive journalist. I do a lot of truck reviews, SUV reviews, and you know, almost like police officers get desensitized to accident scenes, reviewers sometimes get desensitized to vehicles. You hop into them every day. You know, there's so many folks out there that have a bias towards, you know, a Ford product or a Chevy product or a GMC or Ram or Toyota, whatnot. But when you hop in these trucks, as much as I do, you realize very quick that a lot of these vehicles are you know, they're competing in the exact same space and doing the exact same things. They're putting huge screens in, they're putting a lot of technology in, and rarely as a journalist can you hop into a new vehicle and just be blown away. And that's a fact. I mean, you know, you guys probably watch other automotive review channels out there. There are a ton of them. But the reality is, a lot of times when you are a journalist and you get an opportunity to go see a new truck, you're hoping there's going to be something radically different about the truck that really makes you feel special when you get in that vehicle. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I think if any other review channel were completely honest with you, they'd tell you the same thing, that as nice as these trucks are, they're all competing for the same customer, which means that they're not going to diverge too far off from what everyone else is doing, because they don't want people to be so radically affected by the vehicle that they decide not to purchase it because it's too different, if that makes sense, right? You know, if let's say you're shopping for a home and you hop into you go visit a home and it's too contemporary, it's too crazy, they went too futuristic with it, it might turn you away only because of that huge difference in what they normally do. So when it comes to trucks, it's kind of the same way. You don't see too much, you know, advancements in terms of technology and such above what the other manufacturers are doing, because I think it creates a bit of a scare factor to it and people kind of shy away from it. But when I hop into certain vehicles, it still brings up that wow factor. And I will tell you, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the Series 3 that I've been reviewing, that instantly hit my wow factor. I mean, my wife hopped in it and she was like, oh my gosh. I mean, 5 screens up front, 5 screens, you know, and you're going to have to watch the first video I posted the other day to see exactly where all those screens are. But it's insane to see an SUV with 5 screens up front. And you know, I don't review, you know, Range Rovers and Mercedes and BMWs, and I'm sure they're doing some pretty crazy things, Bentleys and all that. But I do review trucks, and I know that trucks have advanced a pretty, you know, far distance from where they were in the past from a technology perspective. But to see, you know, that the inside of the Grand Wagoneer, it blew me away so much that I don't think I've ever been in an SUV that could even come close to comparing the interior of the new Grand Wagoneer. And you know, Dill, I'm going to agree with you. It's way too much tech. You know, I'm a technology guy. I love tech. I love seeing cool things that help you out and can do certain features. And I'm going to post a video coming up real soon with another feature that Jeep has that you will just completely blow your mind away, because you scratch your head wondering why you would need it, what circumstance you would ever need that feature. But then you see it and it's a wow factor. It's almost worth having just so you can show your neighbor that you have a vehicle that has this feature in it. And next video on the Wagoneer, you'll see a big in-depth kind of review of what that feature is. But, you know, when it comes to trucks in general, I'm not a big proponent of huge screens. I like a good-sized screen, but I'm not necessarily someone who thinks that I need to have a 12-inch screen. You know, that's just, it's way too much to look at while you're trying to drive down the road. And I can tell you, just even during the media review when Ram first launched their Uconnect 12 with a 12-inch screen, looking over at it while you're trying to navigate, you know, outskirts of Las Vegas in the mountains to get back to a hotel, it was nerve-wracking, especially in heavy traffic. So, and they're all doing it now. If somebody wants to ask me what my favorite vehicle is, and I've talked about this before, my favorite truck, I don't base trucks anymore on reliability so much, or even fit and finish, because they've all come so far. People could argue and say, 6 to 8 years ago, Ram was at the bottom of the barrel in terms of fit and finish, but now I'd probably say they're at the top. You could say that GM had the most bland interior for a long time, but now if you look at their new 2022 models, they have a beautiful interior. And Ford has constantly kind of ridden that line of being too technical or too tech loaded and being a little bit plain looking. But when I look at pickup trucks nowadays, I don't look at them for their technology, because I know that you can get them all with big screens. I know you can get them all with all the crazy cool features. But what I like about the F450 in particular, and the reason why it's hard for me to move away, is the same reason I've said from the very beginning. The turning radius on a dually truck that big, to be able to turn as sharp as I can turn and maneuver as well as I can maneuver, is game changing to me. And it's kind of crazy that no other manufacturer has done it. And I've been to all of the media launches of these heavy duty vehicles, and I talk to the engineers. I talk to the chief engineers, and I say, you guys need to put a wide track axle or a tighter turning radius on your trucks. And that's a big reason people look at these trucks, especially if they're using them for towing. And I'm going to be honest with you, they all sound like, yeah, that's a great idea, we need to do that. They all write it down in their notepads, they all take notes on it, but the only one who's actually done it is Ford. And I say that knowing that, the Ram 4500, 5500 series medium duty trucks out there, it's a cabin chassis truck, it's not a, full pickup truck with bed. But I say that because when I did a side-by-side comparison in turning radius against the Ram, I still had roughly an 8-foot tighter turning circle than the Ram 5500 series truck. And that's with the wide track axle. So, as much as I'd like to say that I have an option if I look at a Ram truck to get a tighter turning circle, I really don't. Because when I compared the two head-to-head in a video I did about a year ago, maybe a little longer than that, it just kind of proved that the turning circle of the 450 still was superior to that of the Ram. It's not to say that at some point I'm not going to look at another truck, but unless they can improve their turning circle, which is huge for me, I'm going to probably stick to the F450, to be honest. David, you talk about 2010 Ram paint. So much has come in terms of evolution, in terms of paint jobs on vehicles. You rarely see a vehicle with paint problems nowadays. I mean, it was a big issue 15, 20 plus years ago. They just didn't have the process of, maybe the urethane down. They didn't have the process of a clear coat down. Base coat, clear coat was in its, I'm not going to say infancy, but it certainly was a product that didn't last as long as you might hope. And if there was any defect in it at all, it would instantly cause the paint to start peeling up, oxidating, and bubbling off. And you just don't see that anymore. You really don't. Paint on vehicles has come such a long way. I would venture to say I don't know of any automotive manufacturer that's still having paint problems as far as paint, the clear coat bubbling off, because again, the way the urethane's mixed, the way it's made, the way it's sprayed, it's just not an issue anymore for any car manufacturer. It's I'm surprised sometimes that even a scratch on a vehicle down here in South Texas, where we got salt in the air all the time, it just never rusts. It just stays fine. Let's see, Lungberg, God bless you too. I appreciate that. Everyone needs that right now, especially with all the craziness going on in Russia and Ukraine. My heart bleeds for them. I couldn't imagine living in a country where the news was so censored that the government could spin it in such a way to make it seem as if the Ukrainians are the ones that are in the wrong here. It blows my mind. Send my prayers to them, send my support, and send my money too. That's just absolutely crazy. There's a question here a second ago. Let me see if I can find it real quick. What's my favorite engine if I had one? That's a hard question to answer. And another question that's kind of related: do you feel one diesel is better than another for towing 18,000 pound fifth wheel? These are hard questions to answer because people are so passionate about an engine if they like it. There's some folks that think the 454 back in the day was the only engine to get. There's some folks that think the Hemi's the best engine out there. I personally think an engine has to be able to withstand what you're going to put it through as a user or as a consumer. So if, if 5 years ago or 10 years ago you came to me and you said that Ford would produce a reliable diesel engine coming away from the 6.0 and the 6.4 Navstar partnership, I would probably say you don't know what you're talking about, especially considering that Ford, kind of went the route of building their engine from the ground up. And during the Super Duty reveal a while back, I actually had some time in a vehicle, a lot of time, with the chief designer of the Power Stroke, and he was actually a big fan of the Cummins, and he said, you know what, if I could have made the Power Stroke an inline six and made it fit the way we needed it to fit, we would have done that. So that makes me believe that the Cummins, 6-liter engine or 6-cylinder engine is probably the best in overall design, but it's hard to say that it's the best overall anymore, just because when you look at what folks over at GM are doing with the Duramax and you look at what Ford's doing with their Power Stroke, there's clearly a really, really good case there for engines that are reliable. You don't hear a lot of issues with engines anymore. I mean, you might still hear some problems with fuel pumps, things like that, but those are things that are generally addressed by a manufacturer in just one model year. They're going out and making changes to parts when they can, of course. And right now in this economy that we're in, it's very hard to get parts and equipment that you need to make those changes. But automotive manufacturers are doing a really good job at making sure that their engines are reliable and that they hold up and that they can do what they are advertised to do. It's insane to me to think that you can trust some of these light duty trucks hauling 35,000 pounds behind you going down a mountain and not necessarily have to worry about it. Throw a bunch of journalists in these trucks who are itching to find a reason to throw something viral up on the internet, and they're it's crazy to think these engines are holding up. Somebody had asked a question here about EV trucks. Do I like EV trucks? I don't not like them. I don't not like any EV technology. I think that, in an economy where fuel prices are skyrocketing and they don't look like they're going to come down anytime soon, and, we have all these uncertainties going on with our economy and what's going on, I would venture to say that if you have a problem with any new technology that can save you money, but can still fulfill the task you're trying to accomplish, then you probably should kind of reevaluate how you look at vehicles. EV trucks are terribly expensive right now. I think my biggest issue with the electric vehicle market is just the fact that, my gut tells me, and just based off of, reviews and things I've seen, that you're 5 to 7 years into batteries on these things before you have to replace the batteries. And at that point, you almost have lost all the value in the vehicle, and the cost to replace the batteries might actually rival the cost of a new vehicle. So, that's an era that we don't live in right now with trucks. I mean, shoot, if you have a 10-year-old truck, you're liable to get more than you paid for it if you trade it in. If you have an EV truck and the batteries go bad on it in 10 years, I have this feeling that somebody trying to buy it, or if you're going to trade it in, they're going to come back at you and pretty much tell you, we're not going to do anything because those batteries cost about as much as the truck does. All right. Let's see. I'm just looking through here real quick. Why don't I talk about front storage compartments on fifth wheels? That was from the Road Glide Rider. So the reason I don't focus too much on them is because when you open up the front storage compartment, you are usually met with either a spot that's prepped for a generator or not prepped for a generator. And if it's not prepped for a generator, then you run into the scenario that you have to kind of explain what else you can use it for. A lot of people don't really cram the front area with supplies and things, but at the same time, though, most people want to see a spot up front that has a useful purpose, and it's either going to be used for a generator, it's going to be used for your hydraulic equipment or batteries. And going over the front spot, to me, because it's usually always utilized for something, I don't open it. And a lot of times dealerships just don't keep it open. They actually don't have that spot open up front. It's locked. So that's kind of one of the other issues I deal with sometimes. Live in Texas, hot Texas sunroof. If you watch my channel for a while, Photog, you'll know that I am not a fan of sunroofs. I don't like them at all. I think I've probably used the sunroof in my truck maybe all of 10 times since I've had it, and that's usually so my daughter can get a kick out of going through a car wash. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of sunroofs. Oh yeah, they come in great on Christmas when you're going through like a parade and you want your daughter to be able to look out the window. But I'm personally not a fan of them. I have no problem against people who love sunroofs on vehicles. I personally don't, only because it's a failure point that's exposed. I cringe every time a hailstorm comes through, and I cringe every time I open mine because it makes a loud popping noise because the seal sticks because I just haven't opened it in so long. Have you had any issues with the rear window on my 450? I have not. No issues there at all, but to be honest, I have it blocked off by plungers on the back, so I really don't open it very much. Do I feel one diesel is better than the other? I think I already asked or answered that one. Thoughts on four-wheel campers, truck bed campers? If you get one, don't get one with the slide. That's my only thing. I don't think slides and truck campers go together very well. Just too much back and forth moving. You're probably liable to destroy the slide out system on your camper if you do. Just hunting my dog down. Come here. All right. This little fountain area has been a nightmare to keep clean. It's got a sump pump down at the bottom that keeps the water moving. And I feel like I'm cleaning that thing out every other day. Oh, should take the ball. Come here. All right, I'm back. Any other questions? All right, what do we got here? Any chance of going back to Kingsville band trailer and seeing how it's held up? Actually, I've been wanting to. You know, I go through Kingsville quite a bit, and every time I'm trying to look at the trailer, and it's not an area where I expect it to be. But yeah, I'd love to go back there. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, we did a surprise for a high school in Kingsville, Texas. If you guys don't know where that is, that's where the King Ranch is based out of. If you don't know what that is, go buy a Ford with the King Ranch package, and that's where they get their leather. But yeah, the King Ranch is kind of the equivalent to the Yellowstone Ranch that you might see on TV. They actually mentioned the King Ranch on Yellowstone, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I've been wanting to go back there to take a look at it. I hope it's been holding up well. You know, I'm not gonna lie. The kids that use that, you know, put it through a lot of justified abuse, which means they're unloading and loading equipment on. They have to do it relatively quickly, so it'd be interesting to see. Gary, my hat is a 10X Stetson, if you're wondering. It's too warm out here to wear felt, at least right now, so I don't break that one out unless I absolutely have to. 250, 2500 versus 350, 3500. Why so many might buy one over the other? 250 is generally going to have a more, what's the best way of putting this? It's going to have a more everyday city life truck truck. You might have larger wheel diameters on some of them. You might have squishier tires. You might have a slightly softer suspension. Camper packages, things like that, are typically optional on a 25 or a 250. It's usually going to have a slightly better ride if you don't plan on towing a lot, or if you don't plan on hauling a lot. 350's only real advantage is going to be when it comes to your gross vehicle weight rating, and that can also cost folks more when it comes time to re-register their vehicle or pay for their registration update. So there are a few reasons some people might want a 250 over a 350. Have I considered the Kelderman? Not necessarily. I'm not an advocate for replacement suspension on vehicles. I feel that the engineers who designed these vehicles probably did the best possible job coming up with a design that's going to last as long as you would want it to last in terms of vehicle ownership. And that's where it comes down to it for me. I believe Kelderman makes a really good system. There's several others out there, Liquid Spring and all those folks, that make good systems. But at the same time, I don't personally think like they're needed. I know folks are always striving for a smoother ride on heavier duty trucks, but at the end of the day, you also have to realize that they're stiff for a reason, and that's mainly to be able to handle the weight that you're going to load over the back of it whenever you plan on towing. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to go through some of these comments. It's a little bit hard on the smartphone. Any tips on finding nice RV parks for months or stay in Florida, winter, Texas coast? I don't have any type of paid memberships or deals. I don't really work with any of those. I'm sure there's a bunch of them out there, but I usually just do my own little thing and find the best deal I can find. Well, guys, I just had a neighbor show up, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. It was great talking to you all. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful spring break. If it is your spring break, it's ours. So my daughter's definitely having fun. I appreciate you all for being viewers. Absolutely. I don't like to call you all fans because I think fans kind of skirts the line between people who just watch and people who feel they have to watch. I just like the fact that you guys watch my channel, period, and I appreciate that. So real quick, yes, I do like my Centromatic balancing ring still. Anyways, again, really appreciate you guys for joining, taking the time. I don't announce these ahead of time. I'm sure I can get a lot more people to join, but I like it to be relatively small, practical, so I can answer questions. How many live chats do you guys get on where the questions are going by so fast that you don't feel you ever get yours answered? And I'm trying to, I do these off the cuff because I want to be able to get to some of your questions maybe a little bit more than you might normally be able to on some of these. Just real quick, seeing if there's any other one-time or one-off questions I can answer. Brenda Cow, got that already. Nope, that's just about it. All right, guys, everyone have a wonderful day. God bless you all. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.